The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week on FRCmedia News, we sit down with retiring school superintendent Maria Pontes. Congressman Auchincloss provides an update for chamber members and delivers money for work on Pleasant Street. And meet Fall River's Youth of the Year. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, March 28th, 2024. This is FRCmedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. We start this week with more gun activity in Fall River. Police yesterday took into custody 48-year-old Jeffrey Santos following reports of shots fired on Pine Street near Orange Street. It appears no one was injured. No word on what, if any, charges Mr. Santos may face in connection with the shooting. We have a follow-up on the March 15th stabbing murder at an apartment at 234 Tripp Street. 44-year-old Joseph Bump was found with severe stab wounds and died later that evening. 42-year-old Pedro Fernando Aurelano Alvarado was arrested and charged with murder. Further investigation indicated that many of the individuals in the apartment were placed there by a social service agency in Boston. Reports this week in the Herald News state the city shut down the apartment building earlier this week after learning it was being run as a boarding house, which is not allowed in that neighborhood. Mayor Paul Coogan says the city is doing more to learn about the circumstances of the incident and guard against similar activity taking place in the future.
The problem they had was both zoning and the amount of unrelated residents that just lived in certain areas. It was just people that were just thrown together. And as I said, you go to a house, you walk into a bedroom, you open the door. Here, you had to have a lock and a key to get into a bedroom. Those are the things we look for when we're in a house. Who's locking the door to their bedroom with an actual key and a bolt just to get in and out of their own sleeping quarters, and sharing bathrooms, and some of the requirements related to how often the area is cleaned up and what's going on. And I do ask the residents if they see a steady stream of people coming and going out of a property in a neighborhood that's, that doesn't have that kind of a flow, let us know and we'll check it out. We want to make sure, we know who's in our city and they're bringing a contribution to the community.
Late last month, Superintendent of Schools Maria Pontes alerted the school committee of her intention to retire on June 30th, capping a nearly 40-year educational career in Fall River. Speaking with the superintendent this week, she says the time is right for her to focus on her family and step away at this time. She still has 1 year remaining on her current contract. Mrs. Pontes says she has seen many changes in her time as a teacher and administrator. She says the implementation of MCAS testing has been one factor in how school districts are measured for success. She also says teaching and learning has also been impacted by the advancements of technology in the classroom.
The pandemic certainly opened our eyes to the tremendous impact that it could have on the work that we do. And it really, years before the pandemic, we were, trying to get teachers to integrate more technology into the work, and now it's a staple, right? It's replaced, paper and pencil tests. It's replaced textbooks to some degree. So that has been certainly something that has changed the course of how we do things.
Mrs. Pontes says another positive impact within the district has been the city's investment in new school construction.
We are a blue-collar city, but we have really invested in our schools. Durfee High School is a state-of-the-art. Everybody that comes to that school says it's like being on a college campus, right? Our middle schools, with the exception of Talbot, is the older one, but we have some, really, even the ones that are older, we have made efforts to work on them and to bring them up to, I just think that we're so lucky. You go into some of these large urban districts, they don't have the amenities that we have, so we're in a good place.
Mrs. Pontes says even though the city is making progress, it's tougher than ever to recruit and retain teachers in an environment where they face challenges in starting a career and meeting the education demands of a high-needs community.
You have a young person graduating from college, going into the profession. Within 5 years, they have to go get their master's degree. They have to relicense every 5 years. Those are demands that are put on them, the standards. There are a lot, I feel like there are a lot more pressures on teachers. I think kids are coming with many more social emotional needs. We are asking a lot of our teachers, and they're having to sift through some of those needs in order to get to the business of teaching and learning.
Since she came on board as interim superintendent in 2021, Mrs. Pontes says the district has benefited from an increase in state funding for education and the coordination of curriculum across all schools in Fall River.
There is a lot to do. I think that we've put some good systems in place. We have brought ourselves back to a very, very strong focus on teaching and learning. We kind of had, I think we had, strayed from that somewhat, and COVID just kind of magnified that. So we had to reboot ourselves. We have, put those systems in place. We've invested a great deal on curriculum, professional development. I think we've used our money wisely to really build the infrastructure. And, I think we have to now, it's, implementing and making sure that all these investments are paying off, and paying off in the way of student achievement, that we are moving our students.
Mrs. Pontes took over during a time of controversy surrounding the tenure of former superintendent Matthew Malone. When she leaves, she's hopeful the district can grow under new leadership.
I will never say that I was the perfect superintendent or the perfect principal or the perfect teacher, because I'm a learner, and I know that every single day I learn from someone around me. Lessons, some hard lessons you learn, but there's work to be done. I think that my job was to come in here, kind of put us in a place to position us for the next level of success. I think that we are ready. We're poised. We're seeing some good focus, and I want nothing more than to continue to celebrate with Fall River Public Schools, because we have a lot of hardworking people that are really coming in every single day, and are committed to the district and committed to the success of our students.
Massachusetts 4th District Congressman Auchincloss, who represents Fall River, provided an update on local issues during a luncheon this week with members of the One SouthCoast Chamber of Commerce at the Fall River Country Club. The congressman said one of his immediate concerns impacting Fall River and the South Coast is the closure, demolition, and reconstruction of the Washington Bridge on I-195 in Providence. He said that closure has had negative economic impacts on southeastern Massachusetts.
As a member of the Transportation and Infrastructure Committee, I have raised this with the Federal Highways Administrator and underscored the urgency to get this done quickly and safely. Secretary Buttigieg recently visited, made clear that the federal government would support the replacement of this bridge, and clearly money, 80%, I think it should be the floor of the funding for the $200 to $300 million is critical, but speed is just as critical as the funding. We saw in Pennsylvania when the highway collapsed or degraded that they got that done in weeks, not years. And this is a bridge, this is more technically complicated, but the same sense of urgency, I think, needs to impel the bridge reconstruction going forward. And I'm going to be absolutely committed to both the funding and the sense of urgency being imparted for that, because that's really that's a South Coastal New England challenge. That's not just a Rhode Island challenge. That affects us here too.
Another obstacle brought up by the congressman is the fate of Steward Healthcare, which operates St. Anne's Hospital in Fall River, and announced it's facing financial challenges and looking to sell off some of its assets.
We need to have really a three-step approach to handling the Steward fallout, and it's going to require federal and state collaboration. The first is triage, is making sure that there is minimal disruption to actual patient access, and that's going to mean collaboration with other medical providers. The second is accountability. It's understanding if there is either civil or criminal wrongdoing on the part of steward leadership that needs to be rectified. And the third is policy changes. What might need to be different to ensure both access for patients in southeastern Massachusetts, as well as more transparency and front-end coordination to prevent these kinds of fire drills going forward.
Congressman Auchincloss sees the South Coast as a prime location to take advantage of, quote, strong economic tailwinds in Massachusetts. He says the region has the workforce support to be a leader in advancing marine science and offshore wind, as well as the medical device and biomanufacturing sectors. He also introduced a new target of development, leveraging the support of communities to take advantage of the potential of the Taunton River.
I think the Taunton River is an underutilized asset. The Taunton River, as we all know, was really a driving asset behind the Industrial Revolution here in southeastern Massachusetts. And at this point, though, it seems like the development along the Taunton River and the conception of the Taunton River's utility is siloed. We're working on Brayton Point, right? We want to get Brayton Point in a place where it can support an offshore wind cluster. Obviously, in Fall River itself, I've been majorly supportive, along with Senator Rodericks and the mayor, of the waterfront redevelopment. So we have conceptions of it as a hub for offshore wind maintenance and operations, as a place for housing development. We have some conceptions of it as a place for recreation. But I think we need a sort of Taunton River collective economic development vision, and one that I can help then fund and execute on.
During his appearance, the congressman took questions on the lingering impact of inflation, the state's emergency shelter system, and investing in early childhood education. Congressman also was interrupted during the opening of his remarks by protesters who were on hand to criticize his support of Israel in its war with Hamas. The protesters were escorted out of the room without incident. Congressman Auchincloss joined Mayor Paul Coogan and local legislative leaders on a tour of businesses on Pleasant Street to promote his work on securing $1.6 million in federal funds toward projects to revitalize the Flint neighborhood. Mayor Coogan says the money is a step in making Pleasant Street more livable and attractive for economic development.
These improvements are going to include repaving of roads, sidewalks, installation of trees, streetlights, and signage. The project will dovetail with other efforts to revitalize the Flint, including a drainage project to prevent flooding at Stafford Square, the complete rehabilitation of several historic storefronts, this being one, and a 2-year community engagement program that will involve residents and several community organizations. Our urban renewal plan we did for this whole stretch is going to lay out the roadmap for how we're going to provide the residents of the Flint with a more livable, walkable, friendly community all the way up and down Pleasant Street, and of course the streets that spin off it, whether it's Jenks or Barnes off Eastern Avenue. Some of these other areas, we're going to go right up and down as many as we can.
Congressman Auchincloss says the plans the city has for the neighborhood signifies a shift from city planning principles of the last century.
The post-war way of building infrastructure that was entirely predicated on the car, on single occupancy vehicle ownership, and we built highways and we expanded state roads, and we kind of hollowed out our downtowns to make way for the automobile. And what it's done is it's been bad for the environment. 2, it's been bad for our downtowns and the walkability of our downtowns. And 3 is it's hurt our local businesses and retail. And what I see here with this project is a way to try to put the pedestrian and the small business owner front and center in how we do urban design and transportation investments in the 21st century, and stop putting the vehicle front and center. And that way we can help knit together our communities again. We can create more foot traffic for business owners. We can create safer streets, because actually more feet on the street is a safer street. And we can also be more environmentally resilient with better stormwater management.
The mayor is hopeful work on storefronts along Pleasant Street will begin in the coming weeks. State officials continue to struggle with regulations to deal with the Commonwealth's emergency shelter system. Governor Maura Healey this week put in place guidelines beginning in May to assist those in shelters to apply for services and guide them toward independence. State Representative Carol Fiola says Congress needs to assist in adopting meaningful immigration reform and providing funding to shelter migrants. The House and Senate are also working on ways to ease the state's cost of financing the shelters.
Massachusetts has done what it can. It's done what it needed to do. I mean, the biggest cry right now, I'll be very candid, is people say, change the right to shelter, because that is the issue. No, the people are going all over this country. They're not just coming to Massachusetts. And changing the law isn't going to stop a family with a child and a pregnant mom and tell her, no, you can't, you got to just sleep in the airport or on the street. We do have a humanitarian issue to deal with as well. Having said that, we realize we have pretty much, I'll use the word hemorrhage money. It is overwhelming, and everyone should be feeling that way, as we do in the legislature.
We'll have more FRC Media News after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Cultivation agent. Cresco Labs, located at 1 West Street, is looking for a full-time cultivation agent, responsible for providing on-site cultivation for one or more medical cannabis gardens. Job number 206-00049. Maintenance technician. Rector Seal, located at 1244 Dave Hall Street, seeks a full-time maintenance technician to maintain and repair molding machines, extruders, temp controllers, conveyors, and custom equipment and automation. Job number 205-98835. Floating Universal Banker. Baycoast Bank, located at 310 Airport Road, is seeking a full-time floating universal banker to provide banking products and services to new and existing customers at various locations. Job number 205-96470. Talent Acquisition Partner. Republic Services, located at 1080 Airport Road, is looking for a full-time talent acquisition partner. For more information, call 800-825-3260. Atlantis Charter School, located at 991 Jefferson Street, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Grade 6 Math Science Teacher. Job number 205-98645. High School Math Teacher. Job number 205-98646. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
My name is David Perry. I'm the president of the Greater Fall River Food Pantry. And what we do here is we provide food to clients that are in need. We're always trying to get more people involved in what we're doing, and we're trying to concentrate on youth. And it's all about helping people, and that's what we should all be doing, is helping someone. So it's a great opportunity for them to, come down here and give us a couple of hours a week. It's not long. It's 2 hours a day, and once they start volunteering, it's like a family. It really is. So getting these younger people involved. It's just great. It's great to see. It's great to have younger generations seeing what's going on in the real world, as we call it, and helping out.
I've gotten a new outlook on the community. I've been able to see all sides, helped me learn just a lot about Fall River as a whole.
We like to get students in from 14 years of age and older. It's not about the Greater Fall River Community Food Pantry. It's about what the Greater Fall River Community Food Pantry does as an outreach. We want to reach out to the community. Most schools require that the students put in volunteer hours. we're a perfect example of receiving those students, and that way they get their hours accredited, and it gives them a good learning experience.
Volunteering here made you feel good, felt like you were helping out the community, and also it really helped me out with making my application stand out with having volunteer hours on them. Like when I'm applying for jobs, I've been on the hunt right now, and I've done a lot more interviews since I did charity work here. Makes you really stand out, and also just feels good helping out the community.
I love hearing other people's lives, how other people live, other people's families. It's interesting, and I really like to do this work.
Come down and see what it's like. Come down and take an opportunity to help someone else. Come and see what's really happening in the world out there.
Welcome back. Fall River's unemployment rate rose in the month of February. The city's jobless rate last month was 6.7%, up from 6.4% in January. The 6.7% rate is lower than February a year ago, which was 8.3%. Fall River's suburbs and other South Coast gateway cities also saw their unemployment rates increase last month. Statewide, the unemployment rate dropped to 2.9%. The city of Fall River last week celebrated the accomplishments of 9 high school seniors nominated to be this year's Fall River Youth of the Year. Before the announcement of the winners, Andrew Rebello, Assistant Superintendent and Principal at Diamond Regional Vocational Technical High School, and Matthew Damaris, Principal at BMC Durfee High School, recognized the achievements of all the nominees and encouraged them to continue to strive for greatness.
This is an incredibly special fraternity, Fall River Youth of the Year, where nominees and award winners in the past have gone out to do incredible things. And this is what success looks like. Your hard work, your leadership has led you to this point. If you continue to build on that, continue to be guided by the values that your loved ones have instilled in you, continue what you've learned in high school, you will be successful in life. And this is just the start.
You're all awesome. You're all part of Fall River. Wherever you end up in life, remember that you started here. If you can, give back to here. Things are changing in Fall River for the better in so many ways that a lot of the careers that you're looking to down the road, you might not have to leave Fall River to be part of that career, either because of transportation changes or because different opportunities are going to sprout up here. So wherever you end up, though, continue the good work, contribute to your community, be a good person, and keep going.
Emma McDonnell of Durfee High School was named Youth of the Year. Emma is a member of the National Honor Society, the History Abroad Club, and was a member of the soccer team for 4 years. She plans to attend the University of South Carolina, where she will study marketing.
I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who nominated me, to the amazing people doing my interview, Mr. McCloskey, and that I'm very honored to receive this award. I'm very honored to be a student here at BMC Durfee High School, and I'm just always a hilltopper.
Along with the recognition, Emma will receive a $1,000 scholarship. Durfee senior Ezral Zahara finished second. She receives a $500 scholarship and hopes to attend Georgetown University and major in finance and international relations. We will wrap up this edition of FRC Media News after this.
Hi everyone, welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today with me I have Bronx. Bronx is a 6-year-old pit bull. He came in as a surrender, no fault to his own. He is great with other dogs. They do have to be female just because he is a pit bull. And because of his breed, you do have to own your own home if you are interested in adopting Bronx. Bronx is good with kids, but because we don't know his background, we do ask that your children are 12 years old or older. Bronx does have these little growths on his back leg. And they are just like benign fatty growths. They're nothing to be worried about. If you want to come down and meet Bronx, go on our website and fill out an application at foreverpaws.com. And once you have an application filled out, you can give us a call and come visit us at 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Mass. And that is at Forever Paws Animal Shelter. And you can come meet Bronx. Today with me I have Puma and Candy. Puma is the black little chunky cat right here. Puma is about 3 years old. Puma was a surrender due to no fault of her own. And then Candy is the little red patch tabby over there, who is also about 3 years old. Candy was a stray. Well, the funny story here is that Puma has actually been here about 5 weeks and Candy has only been here about 3 weeks. And when we introduced Candy to the room here, Puma and Candy immediately started snuggling, hanging out, grooming. So we are going to try to adopt these guys out as a bonded pair. So we would like them to go together. Puma and Candy are super sweet and calm, relaxed. Puma is a little iffy about being handled. Definitely super sweet cats. They are both just got spayed. If you are interested in coming to see this bonded pair, go on our website and fill out an application. Give us a call or come visit us at 300 Linwood Street in Fall River at Forever Paws.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website at frmedia.org for all the latest news and local information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Happy Easter, and we'll see you next Thursday.